Hello and welcome to this NET English Back to Basics video, focusing today on AQA English Language Paper 1, Question 3. Now the idea in each of these videos is, as with the others, that we'll be talking through a very simple summary version of the question and the key points about how to make that question work for you, and we'll be doing it really as quickly as possible. So, Language Paper 1, Question 3. Now, by the time you come to the question, you should already have read the extract and answered questions 1 and 2. Now again, question 3 is really fairly straightforward if you read the question and do what it tells you. It's about structure, so that's the order of things. And just like question 2, it's 8 marks, so you've got about 10 minutes. Now you will find some people getting confused and trying to talk about how things look on the page, and that isn't really relevant. What this question is asking about is the sequence that the writer has put things in. Now, a lot of people are also scared of this question, or they try to overcomplicate it. But again, and as with every analysis question that you answer, you really only marked on 3 things. What it is, so the structural technique or the method or the feature, where it is, that's the quotation that backs it up, and what it does, the effect of it. Now again, you'll find people obsessing over paragraph structures, the what, how, why, the P, the peel, the petal, SQI, and so on. And again, essentially, they're doing the same thing. What you're looking for is trying to write about what's the thing, where is it, and what does it do? And as long as you fit those in, you really can't go far wrong. Now, as with question 2, you want to be aiming for about 3 paragraphs, which means here 3 features. Unlike question 2, we're not analysing language. So we don't need to talk about metaphors and similes. We don't zoom in on individual words, talk about word classes, that sort of thing. Now, because this question is about the whole text, we're really talking about 3 bits: the start, the middle, and the end. Now, if you've split up the whole text for questions 1, 2, and 4, you've actually more or less already got that sorted. Question 1 is about the start, question 2 is about the middle, and question 3 is about the start, the middle, and the end. So question 4, that bit, that's the end. Now another way of thinking about it is to look for where you can see really obvious paragraphing. There's usually something that changes at that point, so you can talk about what changes and why. There are some predictable things also in terms of what we find and where. And there are plenty of things in terms of features that you can talk about for structure that don't involve using ridiculously obscure and overcomplicated technical terms. Now, at the start of the text, for example, you usually find a setting, a character, some kind of unexplained or puzzling thing that we'd call a hook. You'd possibly find something that hints at or sets up something later, that's foreshadowing. And you'd possibly find a zoom in from a broad point of view to a narrow point of view. Now, any of those would then have an impact on the mood, the tone, the atmosphere, and that's another feature. For the middle of the text, you're looking for where one of those things changes. So, is there a different setting? Do we get an answer to the puzzling thing from the start? Do we focus on something different? Does something happen? And whatever changes will affect the mood, the tone, the atmosphere once again. And then for the end, you could have any or all of those things changing, and that's fine to talk about. But you might also zoom back out or have something that links back to the start, so a circular or a cyclical structure. You might have an unexplained ending, a cliffhanger, or an ending that ties it all together neatly, a resolution. Now again, whatever those things you have will then impact on the mood, the tone, or the atmosphere. So thinking about the beginning of the extract here as a bit of a model, we've got the hook regarding the narrator only feeling at home in the night, and this reference to finding Dean. Now that's the what, the feature, and we can see that in the references to only the night could make me feel at home, and the night and finding Dean, because we don't know who Dean is or what's going on here. Now that's the where, or the evidence that goes with that hook. And what that creates is an ominous tone, and it seems to imply some kind of past negative event and also foreshadow some kind of danger or threat to whoever this Dean is. That's the effect, that's the why, that's what it does. I might also link in the setting that contrasts memories of Oldham with what it's like now, which is another feature. And what that does at the start is create a tone of threat to Dean and a sense of mystery about what's happened in the past, but also set up later in the text where we're given more hints about what happened with Dean and the cliffhanger where the narrator finds Dean's flat. Now, if we put all that together, what you end up with is something along the lines of, at the beginning of the text, because I'm signposting that, we're given a hook regarding the nighttime setting and the identity of the mysterious Dean, as we can see in the comment that only the night can make me feel at home, and focusing on the night and finding Dean. So I got my what, I got my where. What this does is use the nighttime setting to create an ominous tone, with a suggestion that there's been some kind of negative event, as well as perhaps foreshadowing some kind of danger or threat to whoever Dean is. This sense of mystery also links forwards to the later hints about what happened with Dean and the cliffhanger where the narrator finds Dean's flat. Easy. Now, for the rest of my answer, I'll probably talk about how the time and setting change in the middle of the text and how that creates a sense of damage and decay. And then for the end, I'll talk about the arrival of the narrator at Dean's flat and the negative atmosphere, the sense of danger to Dean, and the cliffhanger about Dean being confronted by his past and how that links back to the opening. Now, thinking about pushing for higher marks. Again, don't fall into the trap of thinking that obscure technical features gain higher marks. People will tell you about talking about asyndetic listing or cataphoric referencing, that's how you get full marks, and they're wrong. They're no better as features than talking about far more accessible and less niche features. The best way to push into the higher bands on the mark scheme are, again, to write more about what you've chosen, to think about layers of inference, but also for this question, to emphasize how it all slots together, how it links, how it all fits into the bigger picture of the text, how it's all woven together into this tapestry that the writer has been trying to create for us. That is the highest order side of things. That's what's going to really push you up to the high marks, if that's what you're aiming. And that's paper 1, question 3 done. Hopefully that's been useful. Now don't forget that, as ever, there's a whole range of other videos covering all the other language and lit topics available on the NET English YouTube channel. So that's NET English 1 on YouTube. And thank you for your time.